Welcome everybody to yet another episode of PRO-fessors. This is a series where we're going to be interviewing all sorts of top players across Eternal Return, North America, and EU. PRO-fessors has been going on, for a while now over in Korea, so it's really fun bringing it over here to North America as well. I'm joined today by it's no question, the #1 Hart player in this entire region, Piemaster. How you doing, dude?
Hi, thanks for inviting me. I'm doing good.
Yeah, of course. So before we get into all the Eternal Return, before we get into all the Hart information, I want to kind of pick your brain, man. I want to know, where does Piemaster come from? Surely you've been playing competitive games before this, because no one just shows up here and comes out swinging quite as hard as you did without having sort of some competitive blood in you. So what's your backstory with competitive games?
Pretty much the only real competitive game I played before Eternal Return was League of Legends, like probably a lot of players.
Probably, yeah, most of us.
Most players here have a lot of MOBA experience,
yeah.
And I've played League since probably like Season 3 is when I picked it up. And I was always an AD carry main, so Hart just kind of transitions nicely over as a similar style character.
That actually, well, the funny thing that you mentioned that, though, you didn't start on Hart, did you?
No. Well, there's like a couple of reasons for that. It was like, I just wanted to learn the game, so I just played something really simple. And when I started the game, I didn't like the way the ranged characters felt. I don't know why, they were just weird to me. So I just played, I played Jackie, and then Lennox after that, and then Hart.
I'm trying to think, like, back when you first started playing, I'm trying to think what ranged, like, ADC type archetypes were even in the game. There was, like, kind of Aya, sort of. Like AR Aya.
Kind of. It was like, oh yeah. I never think about AR Aya, but
a lot of people don't.
I think the first character I tried was like, well, the very first character I tried was like Hedgen, because I don't know why, she just looked cool. Something about her. Cool. But I wanted her to be an auto attacker. I didn't actually like, I tried it and I was like, I don't like this one. Tried Nadine, didn't like that one. I just kept trying like every range character that was out at the time. I didn't like I just didn't like any of them. None of them felt right to me. I didn't try Hart back then actually, but
because
I didn't want to figure out how her evolutions worked back then.
Yeah, well, and honestly, like, a lot of people were not playing Enad Hart for the most part. Like, it was mostly Amp Hart for like a long time. So it doesn't surprise me.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
That's true.
Yeah, remember Amp Hart?
Yeah, that was. I remember this clip. Just watching old Hart clips where she E's 3 times super fast, it's crazy how much slower it is now.
It's actually insane. But yeah, you ended up landing on Hart. Was that like an aha moment? Like, when you finally started playing that Enad Hart, did you sort of feel like, oh shoot, like I've really found my comfort zone?
It finally felt good to play like an auto attacker type character. Like all the other ones, I don't know what it was. Something just felt off. But I think it for the ARs, it's like you can interrupt their 3 auto bursts or whatever.
Yeah, but Hart,
I don't like that. But Hart doesn't do that. So I think that's part of the reason why she feels the best.
It's always been sort of a weird little like intricacy about Hart and AR, like the difference between them. Honestly, like I would personally be okay with ARs being like getting all 3 bullets out no matter what. I'd be fine with that, because yeah, that does kind of feel weird to me.
It just feels weird, yeah.
But now that you've committed to Hart, and you've been playing Hart for like a while now, what was the thing, like, have you noticed any like significant changes over time? I feel like Hart's been pretty standard and the same over time. Like, the game has evolved in a huge way. Like, how long have you been playing Hart for? It's been almost a year now, right?
Yeah, I picked her up like somewhere Season 1.
Yeah.
And didn't stop since.
But do you feel like your playstyle has really changed all that much? Like, I mean, you obviously have grown over time as a player, but do you feel like the core playstyle has really changed all that much over time?
No, not really. Like, you can feel Hart changes where it's like you can notice that there's a delay between your E's, like you're locked out so you can't instantly do them, or like you can't jump 3 walls, stuff like that you notice, but it doesn't change like the core of how you play it.
That's true. One more quick thing before we get into talking more about builds and augments and stuff is I want to remind everybody watching right now that there is a link being posted in chat where you can submit questions over to Piemaster that we'll be answering all throughout this broadcast, so I highly, highly encourage you to submit those, because honestly, like, the last professors we did with A-Not had so much fun just like picking his brain with some really interesting questions, stuff that I wouldn't have even thought to ask, and stuff that probably is helping a lot of people. If it's been a question at all for you, there's probably someone else out there who can benefit from getting the same answer. So please submit those questions. We do appreciate those quite a lot. So Pi, I want to talk about Hart builds, because Hart has had a huge, I mean, let's just be honest, she has a lot of guitars that work for auto attack, so even if you're just pushing yourself in this auto attack Hart niche, there's still a lot of options there. So can you tell me sort of what is still being ran right now? Like throw me through all of the different viable Hart builds at the moment, and just the ones you prefer.
There's pretty much just like two main like viable builds, I'd say, for auto attack, where it's like one, it's like that satisfaction build that came out when they released Diadem. 4-zone satisfaction build starting in Avenue, like Avenue, Chapel, Alley, Uptown. That one was kind of standard for a while. They buffed satisfaction, they gave her a new helmet, you know, it routed all together well. People were playing that for a while, and they nerfed that, and people were kind of slowly creeping back towards Teen Spirit as their main weapon. So the two main routes would be like a satisfaction route and a Teen Spirit route, and the wall's just kind of left off on the side. No one really wants that one. So
yeah, the wall not really seeing much play these days, right?
No.
What about Crit Heart? Is that still a thing?
I've like seen things here and there about it, but I just don't think it's worth it compared to the like extra normal attack damage type builds. Like,
yeah,
crit just doesn't provide the same like late game value, and the early spike isn't that worth it, I guess.
So Tuxedo and Diadem are two items that have sort of been introduced into Heart's like standard builds nowadays. Could you talk more specifically about those two items and why they're better than their counterparts?
Well, Tuxedo, it's not better than Crusader's early game. Like the extra damage scales, so 1 per level, and Crusader starts off with 14. Just like right when you build it, but it doesn't scale at all. The main drawback is it's hard to route it. Like, Crusaders is really annoying to build. You have to go Chapel, you have to get steel, you need cloth. It just doesn't fit into a lot of routes, but Tuxedo opens up like a lot more routing options, even if it's weaker early. And Diadem is just, this headpiece is way too good on Hart. It's so nice. It's just Laurel Wreath, but worse.
Your
and that's great. I'll take
answered. That. Yeah, I've
been waiting my whole life.
So yeah, actually, I mean, talk to me more about Laurel Wreath. Laurel Wreath is obviously something that you build, or people build a lot on Enad Hart. Is it still the de facto best transition piece?
Yeah, it's like your core, basically. If you're gonna transition one thing, get that one. That's the most important thing you can get to upgrade your build.
Do you prioritize rushing trees to get that Laurel Wreath?
Usually you don't make it to the first tree. Like, the timing just isn't there. But it's not a big deal because Diadem can hold you over to the second tree decently now. Compared to in the past where you'd build like a Moto Helm or something, and it's pretty rough if you didn't get the first rotation of trees. So
I'm seeing on that satisfaction build, you actually have a Hawkeye on there. Is that something that you look to transition out of? Like, I'm seeing that the transitions build with a quiver in there, but like, is the Hawkeye just for routing? Is that extra range like really important?
It's routing, and the extra range is important. So it fits into the 4 zones, and the main thing is that since they nerfed satisfaction it used to have like 20 extra basic attack damage, and it had, I think, 22 lifesteal. But they nerfed those both down. You want to swap over to Teen Spirit now, and then, so like originally with this build, you'd stay on satisfaction the whole game, and you build a Mithril Quiver. but now you are going to swap over a Teen Spirit and a Lace Quiver. And you want to just try and keep bonus range always, because it's just a good stat to have. Like, bonus range is really strong.
And also, I think the last thing I want to talk about is that cube watch you got there. Cube watch greater than radar.
Yeah, it's about the same, at least in the past. I haven't checked the damage recently. I don't think anything's changed that would change it, but cube watch is about the same damage as radar for Hart, because most of her damage comes from the extra basic attack damage stat that she builds a ton of.
Right.
And then it has more defense and cooldown reduction, which is nice for your E and your ult mainly.
Yeah, just some good survivability extra stats. Actually, somebody in chat asked a question, submitted a question through our forum that, by the way, once again, I'm going to quickly mention it. If you are watching and want to submit questions for Piemaster to be answered throughout the broadcast, please answer that form. It's being posted in chat periodically by the bot, so go ahead and submit questions there. But someone asked, do you think Wonderful Tonight is viable with the new buffs compared to Teen Spirit and Satisfaction?
I looked at it a little bit when they made the change to have Vigor on it, but it just, I haven't tested it much. It just doesn't seem that great. So, like, they had Vigor on Tech Ups before, and I tried it out. It did like no damage. Like, there's no way you could run it over Laurel Wreath or even Diadem. Like, it was way worse than both of those. So I can't imagine it's going to be much better on a guitar. Like, I think the main issue is that they took away the attack speed Wonderful Tonight had. Like, you get it back when you stack Vigor, but you have to stack it.
Vigor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
you have to build your stats back up from each fight. I don't know.
From no attack speed.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely, it's interesting territory for them to explore, but I'm not sure if it's quite there yet.
I like the direction for it, at least, because it was not interesting. It's just the wall, but 20 more AP.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're doing something with it to try to make it a viable, like, upgrade rare item guitar.
Well, cool. So that's pretty much it for Hart itemization. I'd say, like, overall, it seems pretty. It seems like it's very streamlined. I mean, that's obvious because she's been iterated on for so long. But yeah, it seems pretty consistent. Like, there's only really a couple of very streamlined builds that people are running. But as for augments, I want to talk more about augments. Augments were added in the season 4 big changes that occurred to the game. I'd say Hart benefited a lot from augments. How would you weigh in on that?
It started out really well for her. You know, they released let me go to an augment page. They released Frenzy. Yeah. This one was really good for a while, but they nerfed it and they nerfed it and they nerfed it and it's not good anymore. But when they released this thing was way too good on Hart.
It was pretty busted.
The downside of taking damage was canceled out by you're charmed for like a second or two of it.
Yeah.
So they can't even hit you back. But yeah, so it's not really ran anymore. If you're gonna run any augments, it'd be like Frailty now or Healing Drone are the main two people are running.
Drone. So yeah, run me through both of these. Like, why each piece? What is the thought process behind each one? Why does it fit Hart in this particular case?
Well, starting with the Frailty page, it's just the damage Frenzy provides. One, it's locked behind your weapon skill, so you can't use it like in your really early fights, and the amount of damage it gives you is not that much. And Vampiric Bloodline, I think she actually, like, Hart could use this, but she doesn't really care about it. Like, it'd just be for healing. So this is like your best damage option for main augment. And then Quench, just good sub augment, lets you clear animals faster, heal up, stay healthy while clearing stuff. And Hart doesn't build any HP. She has really low base HP. She doesn't get a lot of HP per level, so you get a lot of value out of Dismantle Goliath. I think maybe you could use Vengeance if you want to.
So when Anat was on the program, he mentioned that Vengeance, he's expecting Vengeance to be something that only really shows up in tournament play.
Maybe. It's just, I see a lot of value in Quench, even though they like have the numbers on Quench. It's still like 12% more damage to animals is clearing them 12% faster. So like there's a lot of mastery gain and like efficiency from this augment.
Yeah, Quench is just really good in general. Also just makes your wick clear a lot faster and a lot safer.
Yeah, it's very strong. Stopping power is better on other characters. It's not that good on Hart because you don't really care about their defense as much as other characters do.
Yeah, that's very true. What about your sub-augments?
And then main 2 sub-augments, Thorn Shackles, Thea. This increased vision range at night, really nice for range characters. And honestly, everyone. It's just a nice thing to get. Yeah, it's
so comfortable.
Vision at night's strong.
Yeah.
You can use it to, if someone's not running it, you can use your vision advantage to catch them out, maybe do something with it. And then the main other issue is that none of these other augments really do much for Hart. Like,
but the free healing potions,
free healing potions aren't bad, honestly. Like, if your route doesn't have good food, or if you want to build Nightingale, it's not that bad of an augment. But most of the Hart routes have okay food on them, so I don't really see a need for it.
And the Thorn Shackles is just really good for comboing with your weapon skill anyways. So
it combos with Charm, and everything else doesn't really have a use other than maybe logistics. Oh yeah, your ult times out the shield on assembly, so this one's no good.
Yeah, that's true.
Hard ult lasts 5 seconds, so that one's not happening.
Well, speaking of ultimate activation stuff, yeah, what about the support page? What about the healing drone setup? So that's a pretty spicy difference. So more defensive focused.
Right, it's the same sub augments, but now it's healing drone as your main augment. And the biggest thing for this is that it makes your ult a bigger health swing than normal. So like normally early, and even like rank 1, rank 2 ult, it heals you like an okay amount. It's not that much. But rank 3 ult heals you a lot. The healing drone makes your ult always heal you a lot. So you can like take a big trade with someone. Maybe it's, you lost a lot of HP, but you traded back pretty well. Like healing drone makes that swing when you ult and heal back up bigger, and hopefully you can finish them off after. It's just like I wouldn't say a safer option. It's just a different way to gain an advantage in a fight.
So between the 2 pages, which do you actually end up preferring more nowadays?
I think right now I like healing drone the most.
Okay.
The issue with the frailty for me is that it lowers their defense, and that aspect of it isn't that useful. Like the main aspect you run this for is just the bonus damage after you hit them 3 times. So for now, I think healing drone is probably your best option.
It's probably also just a little bit more safer and consistent.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it gets you out of stuff more with your ult or whatever you need.
Well, cool. Do you want to queue it up and start going for our first game?
Yeah, sure thing.
So I have to ask, have you gotten? Are you going for the winter Hart skin?
I'm working on it.
The ER pass.
The pass is a bit of a struggle. I'm getting there. I'm like 1/10 of the way. I could put some points in, I guess, if I have to.
You could bust out that credit card. I mean, why not?
I got some NP on the account. I checked that day 1. I was like, how much do I need to just buy 100? And it was a lot, actually. So I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that.
Well, those skins are very nice. So feel free, everybody, to go check out the ER pass, the first ever ER pass, and get some cool skins for yourself and some cool emotes. You get some NP back. You also
Aesop announcer pack.
Dude, that's the best thing in there.
I don't have that one yet. I need to get there.
I want it so badly.
It's at 40.
Oh, yeah, if you want to get Aesop smoothly talking in your ear in every one of your Eternal Return games, go check out the ER Pass. Trust me, you do not want to miss that. Alright, so I have some questions from the chat while we were waiting for this cue to pop. And again, quick reminder for anyone who's just tuning in, be sure to submit your questions over to Piemaster. It's really fun answering all sorts of questions that you may have. So, Pi, how do you fight the matchup against Shukai as Hart?
That's a... You know, I used to think the matchup was fine before augments, but then they added Amp Drone.
And it's looking kind of doomed now.
I'm really not sure if you can win anymore, unless they mess up. So the main thing before was, you have Hart E, you can dodge everything, and if you play well, you'll be fine. But now with Amp Drone, you can just die to his R. He actually doesn't need to hit anything sometimes. And the best thing you can do is try to bait out his R, get out of range of it, and then come back in to fight him when it's down.
Well, there you go. That's the best possible advice you could get against Shukai. Yeah, the matchup does seem like it'd be pretty difficult with that Amp Drone. But
yeah, Amp Drone made it rough.
Just do what you can to minimize the damage he's gonna be able to output, and just hope that the Amp Drone isn't enough. Do you when the Shukai, it sounds counterintuitive because you know you're basically true comboing yourself, but when the Shukai ults, do you pop ult to try and just like absorb some of that damage? Like how is your ult used?
You when he ults, if you ult, you're just dying faster because it amps it because you're slowed, and so he gets the bonus effect of his ultimate.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like it is sort of like you're comboing yourself, but like
yeah,
like
even with healing drone, it's not enough to counteract it. If you're already caught by him and you're not going to be able to get out of his ult, your next best bet is to try and just throw Charm at him and see if you can DPS race him. You usually lose, but maybe if he's behind, you can win.
Similar question to kind of follow that one up. What matchups are difficult for you and why are they annoying?
Wait, can we come back this one when I can look at all the characters and I'm not in game?
Yeah, that's fine.
I need to look at stuff. Zhukai's annoying though. We can put him up there. Start with him.
So actually something that I kind of want to ask is, do you find yourself contesting objectives a lot? Like, like aside from tree, obviously you want to go for tree.
Yeah, tree, meteorite for cube watch, those are the main two, and then...
Are you fighting over Wick?
If you're in a good position to fight over Wick, like it depends on your game, but I'll fight for Wick if I feel I'm in a good position too.
And I think... oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Wick pretty much can secure your win. The items from Wick are pretty strong right now.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are you building Burgundy? Are you building... Like, what are you doing with a VF Blood?
So, the main two... I'm not sure which is better, honestly, still. But the main two, like, Korean Heart players, they're split on this one. One of them builds Taproots and no Burgundy, one of them builds Burgundy, no Taproots. And I'm not really sure which one's better myself. I've been trying both. Personally, right now, I've been liking having Taproots more and no Burgundy. So I haven't been really using the VF Blood. And
actually, similar question. Are you going after Alpha at all? Are you trying to get the Mithril Quiver? Like, what would you do with the Mithril even if you had one?
Usually, you can make Mithril shoes. I think they're better than White Rhinos, which is in your base build. But I wouldn't do like any other Mithril gear.
Do you feel that loss of healing reduction?
Certain matchups, yes, but usually it's fine.
Okay.
I would what's it called? I just recommend making Mithril water most of the time is your best bet.
Yummy.
Yeah, it's very good healing, honestly. It's very efficient. So it's fine if you just go for that.
So we're still like pretty early into day one. You're already on your third zone. How quickly do you often finish like all of your zones? Because you're kind of just like speedrunning through most of these.
So usually you want to... I'm hoping to finish everything in my force zone before bears spawn, and then I can clear the bears and I'll go look for a feather. So like the 5th zone is just a feather. Also, I didn't have any chickens on my route, so I have no leather, which is not the best, but it's gonna be okay.
How do you feel about the chicken change? The chicken leather
That
change?
is the best change ever.
It's so good.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Nimble Neuron. God, when I saw that change, I was like, there's no way they actually did it. They finally did it.
I'm glad we made it to there.
It only
Finally
took
made
a year.
the chicken leather on every chicken.
So I have a question from chat that says, if Hart bad, why Piemaster get tree?
Who said she was bad?
Not. So, actually that's something I kind of want to talk about. How is your tree matchup looking these days?
Usually tree... It's kind of weird where it's like, some people... It just depends if anyone wants to show up or not. A lot of times, people just don't show up to the second ones. I'm not sure what's up with it, but they're just not interested.
Well, it kind of feels like a lot of the builds that really rely on having a tree go for the first tree. And if they get that, then if they don't get that, their game's over. If they get that, then they're good. They don't need to go for the second one. Oh my god, it's a party.
Yeah, I was gonna say, everyone's here. Well, she came with no items, so...
Unfortunate.
I would say the main things to look out for, by the way, on this route would be this Rio who's here. If you can outpace her, it's fine, but it can be an issue if she shows up. She's usually a little ahead of you on Uptown. And if she's ahead of you on items, you're just going to want to ignore her and try and finish everything and leave.
What's the game plan for food on this route?
Normally you want to make fish and chips because you grab potatoes in temple and you get 2 lighters in alley, but I did not find 2 lighters in alley. I missed one somewhere. But I got heat oil from the bear, so everything's okay.
Ooh, for sure.
And we set to go find potatoes again. But normally I just make a choco pie or I make what's it called? I make garlic bread. Either one of those is fine to just hold you over until you make it up down.
I have another question. It is kind of similar to a previous one. In fact, it's almost exactly the same. How to deal with the matchup against a stack Shikai? Guys,
just don't get hit.
Just don't get hit.
And when he Rs you, just run away really fast. That's the best we got.
Just flash. Guys, it's easy. Oh no.
Yeah, we need to add that one, but just for Hart against the Jukai matchup.
Yeah. We should bring back Quantum Blink. We should open that can of worms again.
I don't know if we're ready for that. I don't know if that's a path we want to go down.
But it was so popular when it was first announced. That's why everyone was so on board with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be great to have my Quantum Blink down, and theirs is up, but I didn't do anything, and now I'm dead.
Yeah. Let's okay, you know what, on second thought, let's not revisit Quantum Blink. That was a mistake. But yeah, so actually, let's talk more about your weapons skill. We haven't really talked much about the charm. We haven't talked much about your rotations. We haven't talked much about your skills at all. What's your standard Hart rotation, or do you even have one?
Well, because you're mainly an auto attack character, your rotation of spells isn't like a major thing. It's like usually you just want to lead by charging Q, and then either charming or like E is either to close the gap or dodge things or both, and then you just auto attack them. And you just try to make sure, like, rather than like spell rotations, the most important thing is just avoiding enemy like abilities. while staying in range to hit them. And you just want to press W whenever you start the fight, because it just gives you a little bit of damage.
Yeah, actually that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I noticed you were not taking any points in your W for a while. Is there any reason behind that? Ooh.
Oh. So, the main thing for W is you want like a couple points in your E, because originally the cooldown for E used to be very long, or it used to be very short, sorry. And then they changed it so that it's long and it scales down with points. So you kind of want a couple points in it. That's the Nikki matchup. Miscue on purpose to make them throw their W.
I was gonna ask, was that intentional?
Yeah, I always.
That's kind of cute.
dp7's like the main Nikki player I see a lot.
Right.
And it's a fun mix up to see. Am I gonna throw it at him, or am I gonna just hit it?
Yeah, that was okay. That was really well done. That was some beautiful bait right there. Ooh, Wonka.
It's okay. Got to make it in time for a tree.
So yeah, like
we got plays.
We're getting like no breaks here. It's just non-stop action.
Everyone wants to be where I am.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, it seems really important to be able to weave your auto attacks in between your E's. I'm assuming you're A clicking a lot in these situations, right?
It's just out of habit mostly, but yeah, I think it's best. Oh. Yeah, you can just you want to weave like an auto between every E if you can, just because there's a use up your full like auto timer,
right,
or whatever. Oh,
that's a beautiful dodge.
Oh, this guy's no timer. Oh, I'm not walking through a Cicella wall. I want the tree, but Cicella's kind of a pain to fight, and I just committed charm to the Adriana,
yeah.
So I'll let her have it.
Actually, that's a great time to ask, how's the Cicella matchup?
I think it's fine. It used to be easier when her E was slower, but when they made her E faster, it became harder, since even though they lowered her damage, when they lowered Cicella's damage, Hart's still really squishy, so it didn't matter that much for the matchup. And 1E can usually just finish you off.
Yeah, the TTK doesn't really change all that much with Hart being as
yeah. I think lowering Cicella's damage maybe hurt her other matchups more, but the Hart matchup, I think it helped her that her E's faster. Oh, Jenny matchup. Usually for Jenny, I just try and run at them. Usually I feel like you can just DPS check them, it's fine.
And by the way, just a quick, I just want to kind of like let you guys know real quick, we were having a little bit of issues with Piemaster's internet, so the quality is not amazing in terms of video quality tonight, but this is sort of the best we could do with the current situation. So
yeah,
our apologies, but it's this or nothing. So it'd probably be better to just do it as best we can. But thank you for your patience, everybody.
Oh, this viewer is on the quest for fish and chips. I gotta finish her mission.
Damn, she just delivered you some nice stuff.
Although Health Mastery isn't really that great anymore.
Yeah, I actually wanted to mention something, just seeing you throwing your charm out a lot. I noticed that in my experiences playing against you, I feel like almost every time I run into you, you're kind of just sitting on something. Just baiting it to charm and full combo somebody. How often do you find yourself actively seeking out fights versus just finding an area where you can sort of bait someone with a perfectly landed charm, like on a teleporter or on a console? And I'll let you answer that after this fight. Ooh, nice charm connection.
So the main thing is like,
because you do that a lot, right?
Right. So if I know someone's in the area, I can hang around and like wait, see if they're gonna come to like console or something like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, it's kind of matchup dependent. Like some matchups you can just run at, and if you hit charm, you can get them. If you miss charm, you're probably not gonna catch them, and they're just gonna run away. So you want to, like Jenny, I think is a matchup where you just it's usually pretty hard to kill her, but you can just run at her and she's usually fine. She'll trade back a lot of damage, but so do you. Like she's squishy and she does a lot. You're squishy, you do a lot. It's usually okay. Main thing you want to watch out for is her ultimate interrupting your ultimate and her carpet interrupting. Those are like the
Ooh. So I'm assuming the game plan is oh, okay, never mind, I'll let you focus.
There's just someone everywhere.
Yeah, this really has been like a non-stop action game. It's actually kind of crazy. I'm assuming the game plan for a lot of these fights is try to connect with that charm, and if it doesn't connect, just back it up, reset, try again later.
Yeah, you just don't want to be in a spot where like missing charm will get you killed.
Right.
You want to like use charm either like carefully or like you know it will hit, or it won't matter if it hits or not. Any of those. So like when I wait out of vision somewhere, like I try to bait someone into some objective, something like that is like the best times to use charm.
So now that console's been changed, so only one person can own it at a time, does that change how you approach a situation like this?
So it depends on like the exact situation, where it's like I try to still grab console. I heard a lot of people say they don't really go for console at all anymore, but usually I think console is still worth taking. It's just that sometimes it's harder to keep it up. So I usually like grab console if I'm going to stay in the area for at least a little bit, and then it's fine if someone takes it when I'm already gone, I think. Wait, what? I thought I clicked on the wick. I think I misclicked.
Oh, unfortunate.
But that's my bad. I didn't think he was gonna caltrops the wick, and then I walked on him while trying to get the items.
It happens.
I used to agree. Realistically, I should just give up the items, and I should just try and fight him later. But there's only 3 people left, so that wick was just everything, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I feel like if the Sasela gets the wick there and doesn't die, like, going for it...
She's not gonna die to Xiukai.
Yeah.
So it's just really me versus him. And I wanted the items. Didn't give me the best chance.
Okay, so I have some more questions from chat, and again, I'm going to be reminding everybody pretty much every time that we talk about these, but if you have any questions for our professor, be sure to click that link and submit them over in that forum. I'm only going to be checking questions from there. I won't be pulling strictly from Twitch chat, so if you ask the question in Twitch chat, I won't see it. You have to submit that form so I can see it. Alright, so, somebody asks... Nope. Somebody asks, do you prefer fighting the forest tree of life or the hospital tree of life for your second tree, or for your first tree from the pool of second trees?
I don't think it really matters. Usually I just go to, like, I just pick one that I think will have less people.
You're not traumatized from forestry?
I actually think if you have a lot of cameras, it might be easier to take the hospital tree, because you can play around that car, or like the truck that's there.
Yeah.
But forestry, there's like that big, I don't know, just like the bunch of trees that it's on, and you can't really like auto or hit anyone over it, but you can hit people around that car in hospital. So as long as you have a camera for the bush and for like pond to make sure no one comes from there, I think hospital's usually go for it.
Yeah, so I might lean a little bit more towards hospital. Let me see what else. Somebody asked a follow-up question to when we were talking about VF blood sample items earlier, saying why not equip both Burgundy and Taproots if you get that as an option. I think you kind of mentioned why.
I
but
tried
like,
it.
If you could explain, like, elaborate a little bit.
So like the
more.
main thing is that both Burgundy and Taproots are damage loss on your standard build. Like they're a more defensive option generally, and so if you put on both, you actually lose a lot of your damage. It doesn't feel that good, even if you get like more survivability, but it doesn't feel worth the damage you lose putting on both of them. Putting on one of them feels like I got an okay amount of survivability for the damage I lost.
I have another question here. Someone asks, hey, new player here, mind sharing some tips to deal with close range characters, melees? They tend to just rush me, and Hart E doesn't get me pretty far.
So, I guess the main thing for a lot of melee characters is if you can fight them either... Like, first off, if you're starting off where you're like walking into a bush and they're in there, that's a pretty bad spot to be in. Like, if you start the fight in melee range, it's not that good. You want to try and keep your distance as long as you can. So, like, a lot of the melees, like, maybe they have a dash to get on you. Like Jackie or whatever, she'll just jump right on you.
Real
you want to just
hold that
try and charm her.
Do you want to queue up again?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
You want to try and just either charm the melee when they're dashing at you or when they're just trying to approach you, and just put out as much DPS as you can before they close the gap, and then start building distance with E when they start getting a little closer. And if they get on you again, you either want to ult just for healing or you want to ult to try and deal with a key ability depending on the character you're fighting, although I don't think most of the melees really have anything you want to use ult for. I don't think there's anyone.
Shukai. No, wait, no, we talked about that.
No, we don't want to do that. Oh, you can use ult for 11 ult. That one's pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty good, yeah.
But I think most of the melees don't really have an ultimate you want to try and cancel. You mostly just want to use it for healing. Oh, I guess you can time out Kiara ult if she lets it go long enough, but her ult lasts like, I think it's 8 seconds, and Hart ult is 5.
You can kind of time out Sylvia Bike a little bit, but I don't know if you'd really count her as melee.
I didn't think of her as melee, but it's good. Like, there's definitely a lot of good abilities to cancel. You can stop Cicella ult, you can stop...
Hedgen. That's the classic one.
Hedgen ult's very strong option. You can stop... You can time out Adela's Queen. You can time out Barbara ult. You can time out Adela's E. Soichi ult.
What about Barbara?
Yeah, Barbara's ultimate. Once you have to wait for her to start it, so she has to get 1 W, and then you ult. It's good. A lot of other stuff. Like, it depends on the matchup. Like Jackie, you want to try and spend as much of her time in your ult. Like when she has ult up, you want to spend that time in hard ult so she can't use it.
Shoichi.
Mainly. Right. There's basically, if there's a key ability that goes away after an amount of time, or it gets cancelled by CC, hard ult might be a good answer for it.
Yeah, sounds good.
I think my game just crashed.
Oh. Well,
yeah.
You could try just reconnecting.
Let me restart that one.
While you're restarting, I have another question here. Do you have any advice for the extremely common Barbara Hart matchup, specifically when both players are not aware if the other has ult? Hi, Dark Gen X. I don't even see who submitted that, but I know who did. Or maybe it's ArcC, who knows?
Can you repeat that last part?
I don't think that was part of the question. But yeah.
Oh. Alright, reread that one.
Do you have any advice for the extremely common Barbara Hart matchup, specifically when both players are not aware if the other has ult?
Oh. I am not sure what the best way for So for Hart to play it, you just don't want to fight it unless you have ult. It's pretty risky. But if Hart has ult, then you can just pretty much always win the matchup, I think. The only thing I would be worried about is like, I think when Barbara's like, they QW, like put down the turret WU, and then they ult and they put down a turret that explodes, like that can sometimes burst you out 100 to 0. And so that's the one thing I'd be a little worried about. But other than that, I think usually Hart, as long as you have ult, matchup will be fine.
Is your game back up?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I just loaded in.
Don't forget to restart your stream. There we go.
Yep.
Alright, cool. Back into game number 2. Since we got some downtime in the looting phase, I'm going to keep it going. Do you mind answering more questions?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, is it ever a good idea for Hart to go into Mithril Chest or Lunar Embrace if you're against Hedgen or Zahir for final 2?
I think in like the last 2, you could do it, and it's not bad. I just don't think it's maybe needed. I think for Zahir it's not really needed. He might still one-shot you with that stuff, but I think Hedgen maybe you could swap into it if it's like the last one.
Mm-hmm. So I remember that Hearts used to run a lot of Elysian Halo. Do you think that Elysian Halo is still a viable upgrade over Diadem, and would you ever run it over Laurel Wreath if you had the chance?
I would never run it over Laurel Wreath, and I'm not sure about Diadem. I'm pretty sure it's not better than Diadem, but I could be wrong. I would never use it for that. If I get a Force Core, I'd rather just make either Hermes, or I would make Remote Mines.
Makes sense. Do you ever go for Omega?
If it's just there.
If it's just there. If someone hands you Omega, you're like, I guess I'll take it.
I guess. Yeah.
It's free.
It's not like a priority.
Yeah.
I think.
We have another question from chat. Someone asks, do you think Hart... Well, basically asks, do you think Hart is up for nerfs soon? Do you think she needs nerfs?
They just nerfed her a little bit, like her guitar at least. So clearly she was up for some sort of nerfs.
I mean, how do you feel about Hart in the meta? Do you think she is a top tier? Do you think she's...
Yeah, I think she's really good right now. I'm not sure if she's like... She was definitely really strong before the most recent nerf to some of her guitars. But I'm not sure if she's still like crazy strong after that. Where is my piano wire? Yeah, this is my main uptown issue.
Yeah,
I need piano wire for inventory space. The rest of it is like the rest of the items or whatever. I know where they are. I'll go back to them when I need them. I just need the piano wire.
Yeah, do you ever find yourself just getting like, do you ever feel like your route is too contested some days? And is it mostly in uptown?
It's currently it's mostly uptown and piano wire. I don't know what changed to make that happen, but definitely happens. Before, I would have issues with Temple and people taking everything from Temple, but that's not really as much of an issue anymore. For whatever reason, I really don't know why. But I guess I'll have to find piano wire somewhere else. Usually I'll head into Chapel or hope that a bear drops the barbed wire.
I mean, that actually makes me kind of curious. Is there anything you can get off of a level 5 bear that changes your build plan at all?
No, not really.
No.
It's like something nice is like getting glass panel, so you don't need to use my glue,
yeah, you don't have to
and
craft
then
it.
I can get a broken watch here.
That's kind of nice.
But it's not like a big deal. Yeah, it's small. It's nice. But it's not like I don't need it to happen. I can go get glue somewhere else. It's fine.
This is a bit of a little, you know, self-promotion, but someone asks, I recently started to main Hart. Do you usually stream? Because I'd love to learn more after this.
No.
Hi.
No, I don't stream. Well, if I said yes, I'd be lying.
That's true. That's true.
But I have streamed before. Just
well, on the off chance
as we can tell by my internet struggling, just to stream on Discord.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
True. Well, if someone wanted to follow you on the off chance that maybe you ever streamed ever, where could they find you?
It would be on twitch.tv Piemaster7. But I wouldn't expect to stream.
But chances are relatively low.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe someday I'll check my internet. It'll be doing good, and I'll turn on the stream.
Is there anywhere they could go to get more up-to-date info on Hart?
There's like, so there's two main Korean, like the top Korean Harts both stream, and one of them is on. Both of them are on Twitch, but Revolu 1 would be the easiest one for me to say on stream, because the other person, dealer, his name's all in Korean. I don't know how to share his stream.
I don't know how to say it.
I can't speak any Korean, sadly. So, but there is another Hart. The two best Korean Hart players both stream on Twitch. So if you want a Hart gameplay that you can watch from good Hart players, it's there. You just have to look for it. Yeah, it looks like there's still. I finally found a piano wire.
By the way, these questions have been great so far. If anyone wants to ask even more questions, we still have more to get through, but if anyone has more questions they want to ask, be sure to open up that link in the, you know, what am I trying to say? The forum that keeps getting posted by Nightbot. Open that up and submit your questions, and we'll be asking them right here live on stream. Pretty much every question asked so far has been user submitted, so thank you so much. Hi.
I'm happy to answer, but I won't lie that it's hard to answer and play
at the same time. It's not easy. It's not easy. That was stressful.
It's you just gotta trust that you'll put out enough damage, but you always have ultimate if you need it, so it's not a big deal. But
yeah, how risky do you play it with your ult, by the way?
If I don't have to use it for a fight, I'll be as greedy as it takes, and sometimes I die for that. Yeah, that was one of the classic. I saw a ping on the map. I knew they would probably go for the console, so I stood behind. I wanted to get to that tree in time. I guess I'll just teleport in.
Yeah, feel free, by the way, if you're ever like about to fight someone and I ask a question or something, you can just ignore it. Like,
yeah.
Focus on your game 100%.
It's fine. It'll probably be okay most of the time.
Yeah, it's a fun challenge though. It's that same movie.
But this time we won't be in there. Go to the sewer now.
The unfortunate extra sewer.
Oh, okay. You know what? If she doesn't want to be a part of this, that's fine.
I thought she was just gonna go all in the red zone, but she just kind of cruised by.
I thought we were gonna do something wild. Yeah. I thought I wasn't making it out with much more than a couple seconds of timer. But she just wanted to be on her way. She had something to do in Temple.
Yeah, respect.
I just need everyone to let me craft my Laurel Wreath at least once. Come on, guys. It's the key Hart thing. I can't just not do it. And thankfully, I guess luckily, Luke had a meteorite, so we can make you watch too.
in addition to some really, really good questions, we also get some really, really weird questions.
I'm sure they're good in their own way.
They're not even weird like sus weird. They're just like weird. But I appreciate I get to read them, so it's enjoyable no matter what. Hi.
Yes.
How is the Fiora matchup for Hart?
I thought before augments it was usually fine, unless she literally one-shot you, which could happen if she was ahead. But now with augments, I think it's pretty hard. She has a Ironclad, I think it's called. The one that when you use your weapon skill, you get tenacity. That one makes the matchup pretty tough, because she'll weapon skill in, and you either charm and you get low value on it, or you'll charm and it just won't help you that much, basically. And it was really important in the matchup before.
Well, that's actually a good question. We haven't talked pretty much at all. We were talking about the builds and stuff, but we never mentioned your evolution points. Obviously, you've been running 2 passive, 1 Q. That's pretty standard for Enad Hart. I know it seems like it should be obvious at this point because it's so like normal, but like, do you want to explain your evolution points a little bit?
Okay, so each evolution point in passive makes your autos strike an extra time, and so your extra normal attack damage stat activates up to 3 times now on your hits instead of once and then twice at one point. So you're always going to want to go for points in your passive. Like your passive doesn't actually do that. Like the actual passive just gives you SP when you hit stuff. But when you evolve it, you get extra strikes. So that's a key distinction I've heard a lot, where it's like people ask about it and they're like, I evolved my passive, why don't I level it? Well, they're not the same.
Yeah, that's always been kind of strange about Hart.
Right, you think like maybe leveling up her passive would make the strikes do more damage, but since no evolution points would not do anything then if you leveled up passive, I guess.
That looks really nice.
I'm a fan.
I love the color sweeps.
Oh, I guess he's gonna head out a different way. And then the main other thing is that your Q evolution just gives you a slowing effect on your auto or on your Q. And since evolving W and E and R all don't really do much, you're best off just evolving Q to get some extra utility.
That's a great transition into a question that someone asked, which is there ever a reason to evolve E or W?
In a different style of build, yes, but for this build, no.
Yeah. Well, I know in the past for Crit Heart, wasn't there...
Crit, you would do W.
Yeah, some people were evolving W, right?
Yeah, you have to on Crit, because it doesn't have, like, the extra base attack damage, so it needs to reduce defense. Or, well, it doesn't need to, but you're best off reducing defense.
And as for Amp Heart, obviously Amp Heart wants to evolve that E, because that's where all the damage comes from, is that extra amp on your E. So yeah, it really does seem to be just sort of like build dependent. It's actually kind of cool that there's these 3 very distinct styles of Heart, and they all have very distinct evolutions that they take that kind of facilitate them. It's honestly kind of cool.
The evolutions definitely are what allows her and separates her from her different build paths. And it just tends to be that, like, the only issue I would say is that the crit evolution W and like the Enad evolution being T would be, like, they're both auto attack focused, so one will probably pretty much always be better than the other. But I do like that they open up different styles.
We have a very serious question here. Someone asks, what's your favorite pie flavor?
Usually...
Do you have a favorite pie flavor?
So it like kind of depends, because I think there's a lot of different good ones.
You're the Piemaster.
It just depends on like, you know, what you're feeling at the time, but usually my standard is I'll go for like a blueberry answer here.
Well, that sounds
Blueberry's always a solid choice.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
I'm a big blueberry fan. I don't like cherry, but it's not because like cherry pie is bad. I just don't like cherry flavored stuff.
Okay. Nice kill.
Looking for some snares to make some taproots, but I think someone took them all for fun.
We have another question. This is kind of similar to something we talked about earlier, but just sort of to clarify, which non-weapon mithril items would you prioritize building if you had the option? You mentioned mithril shoes.
Yeah, the only one I'd make... Okay, if I have Satisfaction as my guitar, and for whatever reason I do not want to swap to Teen Spirit, then I think your best option is to make mithril shoes?
Yeah.
Sorry. I said Satisfaction. If you play Satisfaction, you're going to stay on Satisfaction, make Mithril Quiver, you want the bonus range, it's better than Hawkeye. If you are on Teen Spirit, you don't need the bonus range, make the shoes.
Ooh, nice juke there.
Sorry. Sometimes I have frame issues, but
was that? You had this frame issues?
That was on my end.
Oh my lord.
Don't worry about it, because we won the fight, and that's what matters. Also, who's my last matchup? Aya. So sometimes I think Hermes is better if it's like maybe Hedgen or someone who has like really important CC. But if the CC of your opponent doesn't matter that much, then I'd say stay on taproots. But then, yeah, so Mithril Shoes or Mithril Quiver if you're on Satisfaction, do your two Mithril things, and other than that, I wouldn't use Mithril. Maybe you could make a Mithril chest very situationally. I don't think it's needed or worth it really.
So as you're in here in the final zone, it's just you and one other player. Let's just assume hypothetically there's 6 people alive. Some like crazy high number where a lot of people are still alive at the end, like tournament type stuff.
Right.
Do you try to posture towards the final like square? Do you try to own a final square, or do you play it on the side? What's your game
really
plan?
Strong. If I'm strong, like if I had Wick,
yeah,
going into this last zone.
Let's say you have Wick.
I'd just try to take a zone and like hold it, make the other people fight in the other zone, and then see if I can come over and do something.
Are you worried about getting third-partied at all, since you're so squishy?
It can be an issue. If you're like, usually how it goes is like, one person gets one zone, and then everyone else fights for the other, because that one person is really strong. And if you're in the big grouping zone, then it's pretty hard. Usually I like to wait out in the zone and make other people start fighting first, because if I start fighting, usually someone shows up, maybe my E's on cooldown or something like that. It won't really save you in a case like that.
I mean, similar along that line, someone actually asked, we kind of talked about this already, but what's the best way to use Hart's ultimate as a last resort for surviving, or using it while attacking for positioning yourself, in solo specifically?
I wouldn't really think about it as like a positioning thing.
Nicely done.
But it's not about positioning, more it's like, it's either A, you need to heal with it. There's like 3 things. You need to heal with it, so you use it when you get low. You need to stop someone's important ability, like Hedgen ult or Barbara ult or something like that. Or you need to get your cooldowns back, like maybe your E is down and you need the dash. So you can try and ult to buy time for that, and then use it for whatever you needed it for, to dodge something, to get away, something like that.
Yeah, makes sense. Alright, you want to do one more? One final game?
Sure.
Alright, let's do it. We have a few more questions to get through, so I'm trying to rapid fire these. Again, I appreciate you guys asking all these questions. These have been great so far. Each and every one of these questions has been really good. And if you want to ask more, it's going to be on that form that's being posted in chat. Feel free to submit more questions. I will try to read any one that I am allowed to read out on stream. Some of these I'm not so sure. Yeah.
You guys are weird if you're asking questions like that.
There's some I cannot read some of these on stream, or I shouldn't. Alright, Pi. We have a question here that says, viability aside, which is your favorite Hart, auto attack or amp? I'm gonna throw crit in there too, because it wasn't mentioned, but who knows. Viability aside.
This one's my favorite. I don't really like crit, because the main issue with crit a lot of time was, what's it called? You don't really get to evolve Q, because you still take passive evolutions. So you don't evolve Q, it's hard to chase people, it's hard to get kills. You're strong whenever it's strong, but it doesn't feel as good to me. So this is my favorite version of Hart, viability aside. I don't really like an amp playstyle, not interested in that. Rather play an auto attacker.
One more thing is actually an interesting question that we haven't really touched on much, which is Hart's role in team modes. Someone asks, is there anything to keep in mind when ulting as Hart in squads?
You wanna
combo with your Magnus and your Shukai.
Yeah. Or so Hart's kind of weird, where it's like, if you wanted to play like an auto attack Hart in teams, the issue would be like, you're playing back, like you don't want to be close to the enemy, so you're playing back, you're like in the backline or whatever.
Right.
But then you get low, oh I got to ult, oh my whole team's ulted and the enemy team's outside it because I'm close to my teammates trying to stay safe and I'm far from the enemy. And it could be really counterproductive like that.
But you can use that to your advantage. Like, I mean, there's been situations in the past where I've seen teams use the Hart ultimate to lock up the enemy team while their team can all attack. Right, if they get behind them somehow.
Usually a popular squad option is to play a more tanky version of Hart.
Yeah.
Like, somewhere between like
it gets
some
weird.
kind of crit or like amp type thing, and you want to use that, get into the enemy backline and interrupt or disrupt stuff with your ultimate.
It's really interesting that like Hart in team modes is played so differently. Like I feel like there's very few characters that are just like essentially different characters in team modes versus solos.
She builds a lot different and usually tries to be like a backline disruptor type thing.
Or a combo piece.
Right.
This is a very basic question, very simple question. I guess it kind of summarizes a lot of this stream, but Pi, why play Hart? Not necessarily why you play Hart, but why should anyone play Hart?
If you want a strong auto attack focused character with lots of mobility and self-heal options.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Outplay potential.
It's just cute.
Alright, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I don't know if you've had the chance to put more thought into it, but who's Hart's counter?
I think, at least currently, Fiora is pretty hard. I think Shuka is pretty tough.
Johan? Is Johan messing you up?
I don't think Johan's messing anyone up.
You sure about
poor
that?
guy.
Poor guy.
I haven't seen him since the first
day.
The first update, or like the most recent change to him. But I don't know if that helped him very much or not. Like, looked like he got a little more damage, but he lost healing, so he's doing his best. He's trying his hardest. Just an honest Johan living his life.
Well, actually, there's an Eva that just walked past you. How's the Eva matchup?
It's pretty hard. She has a lot of range, and her range is longer than mine.
True.
So she'll she'll hit me before I get in range a lot of times. The best chance you usually have is like if you can close the distance without her getting too much damage on you, then you can win. But that can be difficult.
If a new guitar was added, what would you want from it?
I don't know. That's like
it's a pretty open-ended question. It could be anything.
Right. Well, I don't think I'd like to see Wonderful Tonight just be viable to some degree. I don't even care what they do to it. I just want it to be like a good guitar. It's just kind of sad that it's just bad. It needs a meteorite and it's not that good.
Yeah, this is an unrelated question that I just sort of came up with. Do you want a gold guitar? There's no gold guitar. There's no like force core guitar. There's no blood guitar. Do you want a legendary guitar?
Okay.
Do you think there's space for it?
So, the first thing I think of when I think of a legendary guitar is, are we really going to give her the 4th evolution? Or are we giving her 4 points?
That is the weird thing, right? Because she does have the evolution points.
Right, and it's based off of your guitar tier that you build.
What if they just capped it at 3? Like, it just didn't matter.
Cap it at 3,
yeah,
right.
you just don't get an Evo point. The advantage you get is you get a better guitar.
But if you're allowed to have a 4th point, then it brings up a lot of questions about like, is this okay? Like, is this going to be fair?
Well, actually, that's an interesting question. Do you think an extra Evo point breaks Hart?
I think there's a good chance.
I think
like,
in our current stage, sure.
Yeah,
because your slow goes up a lot, right?
Yeah, you'd put another point into Q in like this version of Hart, and that moves it from like a 35 max to like a 60 something max. Yeah, I think slow.
It goes up a lot.
Like that's huge. That is a big slow. But I think it would not. If you just got like 3 points still, and it didn't go over the current limit,
right?
It probably wouldn't be a big deal. I'm not sure what you'd put on it in terms of stats. Hart already has a really strong like late game, so adding more to that might not be the best idea.
Okay, so we kind of already touched about this, but someone asked, we've heard about counters, but who combos with Hart in squads and duos?
Well, the two classics are Jukai and Magnus, because you can use Magnus W during Hart ult, and they cannot escape it, and it does the enhanced damage of the enemy being CC'd, as well as Jukai ult, also does not stop during Hart ult, and it does it has the defense shred effect of enemy being CC'd.
Actually, this is
those would be the main two, I'd say.
Yeah, those are definitely the main two. I mean, like if we're just talking strictly combos, those are the only two I can really think of. There's kinda some others, but not really. Like technically Barbara W, technically 11R, but like it's not the same. Any AoE effect while
11R is like whatever, right? Yeah. Because it's like it does like a little damage, even if you build amp. The R is what does damage. It's all her spells.
Yeah, but it's mainly the two classic combos have been Magnus and Shukai for a long time. Okay, actually a very interesting question, very spicy question is, hypothetically, if Hart could get a second weapon type that's already in the game, what would you want for her? Or what would benefit her kit the best? I'm not sure how it would work with evolution points. Let's just assume you still get evolution.
Right.
AR, so you shoot 9 bolts per auto. No.
There's no way.
No, it probably wouldn't work that way. I don't know.
That'd be really strong.
That would be good.
It did work that way though. Yeah. But I think a lot of Hart's strength comes from her charm. Like that's really a really strong weapon skill. And it's exclusive to her. So it's hard to want to give that up. I'm not sure what I'd want to trade for that in terms of weapon skill.
Honestly, like yeah, if you don't have that, you kind of lose a lot. Like that's a huge part of your kit, right?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think things that would break it would be like weapons that clearly were not meant to be on a triple hit character, because like all the like Ancient Bolt was clearly meant for at best 2 hits thanks to Rio now.
Right.
But other characters, you give Hart that, it's just better Teen Spirit, and you get bow range. Because like guitar actually has a really short range now. They like lowered it once recently.
I mean, that's why it's so important that you build attack range on like almost every build, right?
Yeah. It's not that bad in terms of range, but like this being my bonus range, auto range is like it's not the longest, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everyone just wants this 3, I guess. There's like 4 people here. I'm gonna let them do their thing. See what happens. Go Bernice, get her.
Bernice mod check?
Bernice check? Where'd you go, man? I was counting on you.
So just one quick reminder, as this is the last game of the night, if you have any more questions you want to get in before we close it out, be sure to submit your questions via the form being posted in chat by Nightbot. You can only answer questions from there.
Guys, can we just decide? Can someone have the tree? Yeah. Why are we back to this? I thought we left this in the past.
This is season 1 all over again.
I've played this one too many times. Oh, that was supposed to hit, but it missed, so it looked good. Yeah. Are we gonna kill that guy or
mod check?
Yanchuk? Guys, we have to hit the enemies too. It can't just be me. This might be a 1v1 game, but you can 1v1 that guy and he starts at 20% HP. He starts in glove skill death range. Go fight him.
So now that you got your Laurel Wreath online, what's your next goal? Like, what are you just like going to focus on?
That took a while. Like
really
normally you'd hope for it to take less time, and ideally you can go for a meteorite before the tree. But the first like 1 or 2 meteorites both got taken pretty quickly. I can head over to Temple, but I gotta get to a teleporter, which is pretty far. Try and get a meteorite, and then make a cube watch from there, then get ready for Wick.
So there's
a general game plan.
There's a few more good questions I want to try and get through. Someone asked, and I kind of missed this question earlier, I see some people run Satisfaction route and then transition into Teen Spirit. Is it good, or is it a waste of time?
I think if you're gonna play that route, that's the best way to play it. I definitely think Teen Spirit and Lace Quiver is your best option. Like, Satisfaction used to be good, but they nerfed it. I don't really think it's that great anymore heading into like a late game situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Satisfaction route as a whole is fine. Like, it's pretty strong early, mid, into the game, and it just struggles later, really. So if you want a safer, like consistent type route, I think it's good to go for it. Maybe you can get some early kills, something like that. But ideally, you're gonna want to always end up on Teen Spirit if you can. That's your best weapon at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lucid asks, at what point do you typically try to get food? Actually, my thing just moved, so I didn't see there was the At what points do you typically try to get food, and is it integral to your game plan, or do you just get food whenever?
So I make... This route specifically makes fish and chips, so I make those in Uptown. But
just in general?
What's it called? But in general, I just go for like, if I see a way to make food, or like, if I feel like I have good food for right now, I'm not gonna bother. Or I'll open a blue box and just grab it. Like, blue box is a really good way to get food, super consistent.
Yeah.
They used to be always good food, but now it's like,
Mostly.
sometimes good food.
Yeah.
Also, fish cutlet 1. Also, French fries 1.
Yummy. Hey, you're well on your way to some fish and chips right there, buddy. I wouldn't be too.
Well, I will say, I did have a game where I was desperate. I had to eat some French fries to live. Couldn't finish my fish and chips en route, and opened a blue box, got some French fries, 6 fish and chips. Life, you know, sometimes blue box give, blue box take.
Nicely done.
Yeah. The main thing is, if Eva gets too close, like to get into range of being charmed, then she can lose. But if she just stays out of that range the whole time, it's usually pretty safe. I do think when they changed how her E worked with cooldown, I don't think it works with cooldown at all now. It made it harder for her, because she used to be able to get that down to like 2 seconds, like real low. And it was hard to actually catch her and finish her off. But now it's much more reasonable to kill Eva.
Okay, so we have another really significant question here. What should be done when you're facing Hart and she just out DPS's your champ? What would be the best way to beat her in that situation?
I mean, I think it depends on your character, of course, where it's like... I feel like that's too vague to answer. I feel like there's not a good way to answer it.
Well, it's hard
like,
without knowing which character.
Right. I think a lot of stuff just depends on the matchup. I don't think it's like, Hart does more damage to me, how do I win? Well, some characters have to like set up. Like, if you're just running at Hart, you'll probably lose a lot of times if you're like melee. But if you find some way to catch her off guard or like in a bad situation,
third party.
Fine. Yeah, third party or like
use vision to your advantage.
Yeah,
to catch her
waiting
when
around
she's not
vision.
Ready. If she's
that's
set up,
like
that's not good.
That's the best way to do with a lot of like your bad matchups. I think on any characters, playing around those options. Like, if I don't think I can beat someone one-on-one, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like a vision trap. I'm looking to catch them fighting someone else in a bad spot, something like that. Maybe just catching them between me and someone else. Not even necessarily like in a fight yet, but just like trap them.
전혀 평화롭지 않잖아.
So in this final set of it actually kind of makes me yummy carp bread. It kind of makes me wonder if you're against Barbara. Are you cautious about throwing out your D skill if you're afraid that maybe she's gonna body block it with a turret?
I tried to. I really didn't think he was gonna put that turret down. It did catch me off guard when it tanked the charm. But the only reason he put it down was because he used ult with Q.
Right.
But didn't end up adding that much.
놀라서 그만.
So which characters are left right now? I know there's like 2 Yans, a Nikki.
Just one Yan, Chunwoo, Nikki, Emma.
Okay. So in this situation, you have like one or so, you have basically like one range character and a bunch of melees. Who are you looking to avoid? Who are you looking to fight?
I think fighting Chunwoo. So the issue with Chunwoo, he can just one-shot you on Tompa Amp. So you have to be careful of him waiting in a bush, waiting around a corner, next to a wall, any of that. If you don't let that happen, matchup's fine. Yen, I think should be fine just in general. I haven't seen much of him recently, so I'm not sure how he's doing with the augments, honestly. And Nikki is just up to you dodging.
Nice jukes.
누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다. 달려보자고. 뭐 하는 곳일까? 난 멀미에 약한데. 이상하네. 사람 소리가 들린 것 같은데.
Yeah, I think most matchups I think are fine, especially if they have like a key skill shot in the matchup. Because then it's up to the Hart to dodge it, and that's why like it feels like you can win most things if you play well, which is something I like a lot about playing Hart.
I have a quick question for you while you're fighting this Nikki player. 9 seconds is actually kind of scary for the Nikki, especially when the zone is almost close.
I'm back. Oh,
hello.
I'm out of here. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with
No,
that.
you're good, man. Good luck.
Is there any situation where you would open that gold box on the way out?
I mean, it has peppers now, right? I probably should open it just to see. Like, there's bombs, other stuff. I wasn't really looking for it, but I think it's always worth just opening the gold box to see what's inside. I'd take like Hermes. I'd take traps, anything like that.
A couple fun questions before the fights break out here. When is when is Enad Hart's power spike? I.e., when can you feel confident to pick fights / stick out a fight?
If you play Satisfaction, I think your first spike is in Chapel on that build, your Zone 2. Very strong weapon early.
Do you finish your Vital Sign first, or do you just fight even with just the weapon?
It depends on like who's around. Usually it's fine with just the weapon, but it can be harder to finish kills with only the weapon. So ideally I'd say if you don't have Vital Sign done, maybe you can catch them if they don't have a dash or something, but it's not going to be as consistent. And then other than that, I'd say just full build. Hart does really well with items. Like, the most important thing for Hart is finishing items, not like mastery is, I guess, not unimportant, but less important. Like, high weapon mastery Hart isn't a huge damage increase versus just having really good items.
생존자가 사망했습니다.
Kind of an interesting question here. I'm not really sure what the answer would be. Oh, actually, I'll let you focus on this final fight.
생존자가 사망했습니다. 오래 머물면 안 돼. 누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다. 충분해. 생존자가 2명 남았습니다.
The most important thing now is just don't get stunned into a wall.
Yeah. Try to dodge the first attack.
As long as I don't let that happen, things should be okay. But last zone is kind of annoying here, where it's like
wow, that's a lot of good gear.
A lot of walls. Like, not forced, but the actual last zone is as long as I'm here first, fine, I think.
It's a little concerning though, because there are a decent number of walls in this zone.
Yeah, but I can blame the cringe corner.
Yeah.
잠시 후 최종 안전지대가
Those point dodges are so spicy.
It's scary though, because it's like your E gets caught on walls and stuff. So if I like mess up and don't get through the doorway, it could be bad. Oh. Well.
Not so bad.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough timer anymore. He has 1 second.
Well, GG, dude. GG.
I wouldn't end it any other way.
Yeah, what a great way to finish it off. That was a really close fight. Like, really, all it took was 1 E, and it could have been a completely different game there.
Right, like, that's the main thing. If they play full amp, you just can't get stunned into a wall. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's I think Hyunwoo Main said it himself once. Every matchup is 100-0 when you get stunned into a wall by Hyunwoo.
Yeah. Well, GG's, man. GG's. I have a few more questions that I kind of want to rapid fire before we close out. Just to try to get a few more in here.
Yeah, sure thing.
This one's more matchup specific. I don't know how much knowledge you have with this particular matchup, but how do you play the Daniel matchup?
So the main thing for the Daniel matchup is you want to, first off, you don't want to get hit by the middle of the scissors. So if you can avoid that, do that at all costs, because it gives him a lot of burst potential. And either you just want to stop him from hitting you as much as possible when he has his W mark on you, basically. So either there's like 2 ways to use your ult in the fight. You either have to use your ult because he bursts you really hard, like in the initial start of the fight, or you have to, once he jumps out of you after ulting, because he's gonna always ult in his combo after Wing you, you can activate your ult and it will time out his W marking. So you can do that, like that's the most important, but Daniels typically will have their ult activate the mark, so you can't really avoid that one. You just want to stay as far from him as possible with range. Like you just want to stay as ranged as possible, basically. That's pretty standard for a lot of Hart melee matchups, though. Is just stay far away from everyone as long as you can.
Similar question, ARIA matchup. Do you even see that very often?
If you hit the charm, you'll win. And if you miss the charm, there's a good chance you lose.
Run away.
Yeah, that one's pretty cut and dry.
This is an interesting question. I'm gonna ask it anyways, just who knows. Is there any notable differences between the NA Harts and the KR Harts? Like, specifically like top end? Is there?
At least right now, I'm like pretty much the only like Hart playing on NA really. But like there's some come here and there, but they like a lot of them don't really play like the standard type like ENAD builds.
Yeah.
But I try to. I think we all play pretty similarly.
I feel like it's
me
pretty
and
similar. Because like you guys, because you guys also. I mean, I know that you. I can't speak for them, but I know that you like talk to them a lot and like watch their content a lot. So obviously, there's going to be a lot of like knowledge trade off there.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in their streams and I just watch or see why they do stuff and just try to think about it.
Right.
And like sometimes I'll follow the same stuff, or sometimes I'll like do my own thing that I think might be a better option. I think generally it's all pretty similar.
It seems pretty similar. All right, final question. Actually, this was asked by 2 different people at the exact same time, which is kind of interesting. Are there any traps worth considering as Hart, and when is it worth it to make traps?
I think the best traps for Hart are the traps that CC people, so either double guillotines or claymores. Yeah. I think those 2 are the best, because you can just use it to set up into a charm. Like maybe you place one on a teleporter, place one on a console for vision, and then charm the person who steps on it. Or I think recently something I've been seeing is just people have been making like fire traps just for mastery, but it's not like It's like a weird thing. It's like they just kind of make them and then put them down near some chickens and blow them up, get some mastery off that to level faster.
Well, technically you can,
because I think
you can kind of also combo like remote mines and smart bombs with your ult somewhat.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to make smart bombs, but
yeah,
like if you get a 4-score and
or pull
you don't want to make Hermes for whatever reason,
yeah,
you can just make remote mines, put them down the last zone. Someone comes into your zone, you ult them or charm them, and they step on it. They can't get out of it. Deal a lot of damage.
Yeah. Well, I'd say so. For the most part, though, you'd probably say traps are not a huge, significant part of Hart's kit.
I don't think you need them, obviously, by any means. Like, they're not bad. It's just I don't necessarily spend my time looking for the pieces. I'd rather spend my time getting mastery up from animals and some other stuff.
Makes sense. Well, Pi, it was an absolute pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me out. It was fun.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of fun. Would you like to give any final shout-outs, any plugs for... I know we've already talked about your stream, but if you want to plug any social media, streams, whatever, any shout-outs, feel free. You have the floor.
I don't really have anything to shout out. I don't really do any content or anything like that. So maybe you can catch me on Discord if you have more Hart questions. There's a character Discord where all the different return character knowledge you could need. If you need more Hart knowledge, you can find me there.
Yeah, go ahead and check that out. I'm sure someone here can drop the link, because I'm pretty sure we talked about it in the ANOT Professor stream as well. But that's a very good resource if you want to find information about characters. But yeah, so anyways, thank you so much. Like, again, that was a lot of fun. Hi.
What? Yes.
Oh, hi.
Sorry.
Piemaster7.
Piemaster.
Piemaster7. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Piemaster7.